So we were discussing about Abhyasa and Vairagya. Abhyas is something, the task has to be kept right in front of the consciousness all the times with a constant vigilance on ourselves without neglecting anything. Nothing is, like as Mother says when she defines perfect vigilance, she says nothing is neglected from its observation. So no negligence. It's all perfect vigilance. And Vairagya is, the example that we saw is Padma Patra Mivambhasa. Like a lotus leaf in the water, untouched, unaffected by the water. So the same way one has to live in this world, participate in this world, be engaged in all kinds of actions without making any distinction between this action or that action, but performing the action from a higher state of consciousness. So therefore Karma Yoga is a new birth of the soul into a higher consciousness and expressing that new birth of the soul into a higher consciousness in all actions. Physical, emotional, mental, every action. All that happens. All that is needed to be done to live in this world and participate in this world. So in that, this one thing that matters in the language of the Gita is the Vairagya. How do we remain unaffected by anything that happens, good or bad? It is not that we will not be affected by the bad, but the good thing also affects us. So that is why the teaching is Sukheshvanudvigna manah. No, Dukkheshvanudvigna manah, Sukheshu vigata spruha. He said whether it is the state of unhappiness or happiness, in both the conditions, in the dukkha, when something wrong happens, when something goes wrong, the mind should not be agitated or disturbed, unaffected. When something good happens, extremely good happens, still one has to maintain one's own stand. Vigata spruha, without getting any excitement or further attachment to the sukha. So neither sukha nor dukkha, whatever the state may be, so one has to remain in the same state. So therefore, the teaching here is Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya Siddhya Siddhyu Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. The yoga is defined as samatva. Yogastha Kuru Karmani. One has to engage oneself in all kinds of actions, not escaping or refraining from any action, but being in yoga. Being in yoga means being in contact with one's own inmost being, that divine spark, that central truth, that highest presence which is there in every. So being in connection with that is Yogastha. Yogastha Kuru Karmani. Sangam Tyaktva. Again, Sangam Tyaktva means without any attachment. This Padma Patra Mivambhasa. Siddhi and Asiddhi, Samo Bhutva, maintaining one's own stand in all situations, good or bad, painful or full of pleasure. Because Samatva indeed is the yoga. So in the entire literature, entire scripture, Vedas or Upanishads, this one thing is given much importance, Samatva and Ekatva. The equanimity and the oneness. With equanimity and oneness established, well founded in the being, one is engaged in the action and performs all actions. That becomes the karma yoga or the divya karma or the right action. The samatva is again in the language of the Gita, and Sri Aurobindo very well explains it in the essays on the Gita and synthesis of yoga and in his record of yoga. The samatva is of two kinds. The equanimity that we speak is of two kinds. One is a nishkriya samata, that means passive equanimity, and one is a sakriya samata, one is active equanimity. This nishkriya samata, how it is? So again, three kinds of nishkriya samata that is there. So there is one kind of, samatha, which is nishkriya, what Krishna tells Arjuna, that when you keep experiencing, because this is a world of duality, world of binaries, world of, like pain and pleasure, cold and heat, day and night. It's filled in with this. And when you want to live, we have to live in this world of duality. How do we live? Because these are going to affect us again and again. Sukha is going to affect us, dukkha is going to affect us, pain, pleasure, cold, heat, everything is going to affect us. What is to be done? So Krishna gives a very practical teaching to Arjuna, saying that Arjuna, know that these sukha or dukkha, cold or heat, day or night, they are agama, apayana, they come and go. No one is permanently happy. No one is permanently unhappy. It's not that all the times cold is there and all the times heat is there. They agama, apayana, they come and go. Their nature is anitya. So constantly Krishna reminds Arjuna throughout the Gita, whether he speaks about the dualities, whether he speaks about the death and birth or any kind of thing, don't give any importance to what is uneternal, what is not permanent, what is anitya. Anityam, asukham, lokam. This loka is anitya, asukha. Don't try to find happiness in this loka. Try to find the happiness not outside, but try to find the happiness inside. Because the happiness which is dependent on the external circumstances, which has got some external dependence, is not the true happiness. It will go, it will vanish. And it will cause again unhappiness. So drop that dependence. Live in the inner light, live in the happiness of the soul. Then you can eternally experience the happiness. You can become nitya trupta. You can become nitya trupta. So Arjuna says, yeah, I want to become that nitya trupta, but what to do? Say, nirasraya. Drop that dependence, external dependence. Don't put a condition, this happens, I am happy, and this doesn't happen, I am unhappy. Drop that dependence, drop that condition. This happens or that happens, I am happy. Because I live in the soul which is eternally happy, which is eternally full of light, brilliance. I live in that brilliance. So when we drop this external dependence, so that is why even though this world is so intensely seeking after happiness and not doing anything to become unhappy, imagine the whole humanity. Does anyone do anything consciously to become unhappy? Every action of ours is directed towards how do we become happy. How intensely we are aspiring to become happy. That not doing anything which can make us unhappy. We do everything to make us happy, isn't it? But in spite of this intense longing after happiness, is the world happy? No. Like Buddha said, if all the tears which has flown from the human eyes, If they were collected at one place, it would have crossed all the 7 oceans. That much of tears have flown. So much of unhappiness in this world. Why? Yet no one wants to be unhappy. Everyone seeks happiness. Everyone does everything to become happy. But the world is not happy. Because the happiness that we are seeking is dependent on certain external things. It's not the true happiness. The true love, the true happiness, true peace is not dependent. Not conditioned. It is unconditional. The moment you put condition, you finish. Happiness is gone. Or it is, it will bring unhappiness. Our happiness and unhappiness should not have any conditioning. So in that, one has to, so Krishna says to Arjuna that these dualities are always there, but remember that they are anitya. They will keep coming and going. That is the eternality. That they will keep coming and going. But by themselves they are not eternal. But their happening is eternal as long as we live in this relative world. So what is to be done? Samata. What kind of samata? So here Krishna speaks of titiksha. Titiksha is one of the nishkriya samata, or inactive or passive samata. Titiksha means you sharpen yourself. It comes from the root sound tiz. Tiz means to sharpen. Tej. Tiz. So titiksha means you make yourself strong and bear it, tolerate it, endure it without getting affected. Manage yourself well in all these conditions without being affected. Know that it's coming, it will go. So have patience and endure it. This is Nishkriya Samata. Then there comes another state, like when things happen wrong or right, or situation of happiness or unhappiness. He says, consider it as you will not get affected by it when you have this attitude of nati. Nati is another Nishkriya Samata, passive equanimity. So he says, anything happens, good or bad, how do we not get affected by it? The way is that take it as the divine's will. Make this habit that, okay, this has happened, it is divine's will maybe. I don't get affected by it. So good is divine's will. And in a true sense, not with any pretension. So you leave it to the divine. Taking it as the divine's will, so one doesn't get affected by it. This is one kind of samata, equanimity, called nati. There is a third kind of passive samata, which we have discussed about it, that is called udasinata. Udasinata means like whatever happens, I just stand like a witness and just see it what is happening and not allowing myself to be a part of that, participate or get affected by that. Udasinata. Like things happen, I just want to like witness it by rising above it. Udasinata. Here in all these kinds of things, one doesn't respond even. So that is why Nishkriya Samata. But what is demanded from Arjuna is not the Nishkriya Samata. He said you should have it, all this Samata, in its total form. But when you come to the battlefield, we come with that unaffected state and fight. That is the Sakriya Samata. One does the action without being affected. You fight. So he says you fight. You kill your enemies, but you should have full love for your enemy while killing him. You should have a total understanding and clarity with transparency, with knowledge, with bhakti. You kill. It's a completely difficult situation Krishna is placing before Arjuna. How do I kill the enemy without anger, without hatredness? He said that is the point. That is why samatva is given the highest status in the Gita, in the Upanishads. Samatva and ekatva. Yes, that many soldiers they have that. That you kill with love, kill with compassion, kill with no hatredness, no anger, no sense of possession, but in that state of equanimity, because it has to be removed for the sake of a greater purpose. So always one has to keep, if we look at the core teaching of the Gita, that one has to keep the greater purpose before one. Alpasya heto bahuhatu micchan. Like all those who, sacrifice the greater purpose for little selfish interest, they are the true enemies of themselves and of the nation. So one has to keep the greater purpose before. And if the killing also has to happen. So that is why, there is a question, big question, like Krishna is constantly saying, kill, kill, kill. Is he not, encouraging violence? Preaching violence? Yes, what is your question? That is the question. Yes, sir, why does the divine say that kill? So, but the divine way of killing is this way. The divine way of killing, the human way of killing is with anger, with hatredness, with jealousy, with all kinds of meanness. But the divine way of killing is with compassion you kill, with love you kill. By being in that state of equanimity you kill, not affected. Without getting affected you kill. How is it happen? So many people say that no, Krishna is preaching violence. But the Ahimsa of the Gita, the non-violence of the Gita, is very different from the Ahimsa that we have been taught. We say that Sri Aurobindo has made it very clear that a complete non-violence is not possible on this existence, this plane of existence. He says like it may be possible in some other plane of existence, but not on this plane of existence. So don't give too much importance to small things that go to this extent of putting a mask before the mouth and not eating at night, not walking on the grass. Jainism has a too rigid thing of that. Even like it is completely different from the Ahimsa which Gandhi preached. Gandhi's Ahimsa, don't speak, don't see, don't hear, has caused a lot of damage to this country, the psychology. So he spoke of the external, control, that you don't see, don't hear, don't speak. But Gita says completely different. Gita says, Karmendriyani sanyamya ya aste manasasmaran ahankara vimudhatma mithyachari savuchyate. He says, controlling your outer organs but not having control over the inner organs, then you are a mithyachari. You are a hypocrite, man of falsehood, false conduct. Because one may not be seeing, speaking or hearing, but the violence is going on inside. Karmendriyani sanyamya ya aste manasa smaram. If the mind is constantly engaged in violence, but I don't see, my mouth is shut. There are, in our day-to-day life, we see hundreds of people behaving this way. चलो भाई क्या बोलना है, चुप, पर अंदर ही अंदर जलते हैं. Now it is translated into many outer forms. Yeah, that is true. Yes. No, I'm not against. I'm saying that too rigid thinking about, these things, but too much importance should be given to, and yes, that is very true, that we should try to reduce the damage as much as possible. Have minimum violence. That's very true. But, too much rigid on the point is, like in the Gita slide, too much importance to the outer thing, less importance to the inner, that is what is more damaging. So we may be like outwardly, yes, we don't see, we don't hear, we don't speak, but inside is burning with that violence. So that is extremely damaging. So it says, Karmendriyani sanyamya e aste manasa smaran. So he's a mithyachari, he's a man of false conduct. That is what is not expected. So one has to give more importance to that. No, inside I have complete control over my mind, my senses, that inside I am not affected. If I speak, I don't speak. I hear, I don't hear. My eyes may be wide open. My ears may be wide open. But I am not affected. I live in my soul's strength. I am well founded within myself. So with that stand, Arjuna is expected to fight and kill all his enemies. Now I'll tell you one story. My favorite story, I have shared it many times. Some of you must have heard it before also. There was a guru. This explains like what exactly is the Ahimsa demanded by Krishna in the Gita. There was a guru. He had a huge followers. And he was respected by all his followers because he never reacted. How did it happen? That one of his disciples, he turned hostile to him. Something happened, so he went against him. And everywhere this guru goes, so he will literally throw kachra on him, garbage on him, literally spit on him, scold on him, and spread all wrong messages. Like what the media does nowadays if they target someone. So that was the kind of hostileness, came in that disciple. But the guru, other disciples were ready. Like guru says, kill, we'll finish him. But the guru never allowed others to interfere in this matter. With a smile, he just, titiksha, nati, udasinata, he applied all these things. And he gained more and more respect from his followers because look, here is a guru who has never reacted to the situation where usually people should react. So like this 20 long years happened, and almost every day this used to happen. There's something or the other, torturing by this disciple. And in that ashram, it happened that once a huge conference was organized by that ashram where the guru had to address so many thousands of people coming from all over. Now the guru is sitting and there was this anticipation that this fellow would come somewhere, appear and disturb, do something. So far nothing has happened, but the guru was about to deliver his keynote, and this fellow was found on the stage with a basket full of garbage and then threw on him. And now what did the guru do? He got up and held him by his hair and gave him blows and made him flat on the stage. And everyone was shocked. The followers were shocked. They said, what? You could have done this 20 years before. You could have allowed us, we would have finished this person. And this is what, have, increased more respect towards you. And in front of this whole gathering, what did you prove? This is what we keep telling people, look at our Guru, he's like this. And now, the disciples were really disappointed. Anyway, the stage was cleared and everything, so it continued. Some of the disciples gathered courage and asked this Guru, why did you do that? Why did you do that? You could have done it 20 years before, but you proved to be, we are in a very awkward situation. This is what we kept telling people, ki our Guru is great, look at our Guru's greatness. What happened to you? Why did you do that? The Guru said, look, right from the beginning, I had this idea that this fellow needs a blow. Every time he appeared, he said, I could have done it 20 years before. Yes, you were right. But every time he appeared, I had little anger in me. I had little hatredness in me. And as per my practice, I should not react being trapped by my lower nature. I worked hard on myself. How do I get rid of anger and irritation and all these things, hatredness towards this particular fellow? But this is what is causing maximum problem. So 20 years, it took long 20 years for me to work on myself. And today, and I knew he would come. Today he came, I was full of compassion, full of love. There was no hatredness, no anger, no irritation, nothing. I was filled in with love and compassion. And out of that compassion, love, I gave him the blows. And he would not behave once again more. And that disciple was again converted and became one of his best disciples. He said this, like when you kill Arjuna, see that you don't have hatredness, jealousy, anger, all these things. You are not trapped by the lower nature and you are killing it. Out of compassion you kill. This is the Ahimsa that Krishna teaches. That Arjuna?
Was he always in that condition?
Yes, that is why he came out victorious.
But then how, after his Abhimanyu's death, how he was victorious?
Those things happen in the war and day-to-day life, but this is the teaching. Okay. So that is a poetic description of that. Otherwise the poet will lose all the beauty in the poem. So, from the titiksha, nati, udasinata, one comes to the sakriya samata. So what was exhibited by the Guru, that was the sakriya samata. What happened during the last 20 years was he was following the nishkriya samata, titiksha, udasinata, nati. And when he says that this samatva is established, you perform the action with samatva, with ekatva, but remember that your samatva, your ekatva, your study, all your actions still cannot lead you to me unless and until you have ananya bhakti, unflinching devotion towards me. Ekatva is oneness. Unflinching devotion towards me. And unless and until you constantly offer yourself to me means to the divine. Whatever you have. In chapter 12, if you read, it's a very beautiful chapter where Krishna says, he shows him so many paths. Do this, and you feel that you are incapable of doing this, do this. He suggests, keeps suggesting, do this, do this, do this, do this. Then finally he says, you can't do all these things, just leave everything to me, I'll do it for you. He made it so simple for Arjuna that you leave it to me, I'll do it for you. Someone asked the mother, like I'm doing, he said, how can you do yoga? Do you have the capacity to do the sadhana? Just do your work. I will do the sadhana for you. It is the divine who does the sadhana for us. We just have to keep ourselves open to the divine and work with this attitude that we are working for him or for her, for the divine. This Ananya Bhakti is the culmination, and complete surrender is the culmination of Gita's teaching. Where we come to the last verse, it says, Arjuna, manmana bhava, mad bhakta, mad yaji, mam namaskuru. Such a profound verse, line, just one line, and it summarizes the entire teaching of the Gita. Mameva eshyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. On the last page, manmana bhava, mad bhakta, mad yaji, mam namaskuru. Mameva eshyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. All those who are dear to the divine, he says, just do these 4 things and you will, I promise you, I assure you that I'll take you in my clasp, my arms. I'll keep you in my arms all the times. What is needed to be done? Manmana bhava. Become my-minded. Again, the story which I have shared at so many platforms with so many people. Become my-minded. Man-mana bhava. My-minded. Krishna says, my-minded. Man-mana bhava. Become my-minded. What does it mean? My-minded. So, ekatva. Man-mana bhava. He says, be my-minded. What is Krishna's mind? What is the divine mind? Now I'll tell you a small story, again the story of Ashtavakra. This illustrates what is my-minded. So Ashtavakra, you have heard the name Ashtavakra? Ashtavakra was a young rishi who was born deformed. There were 8 deformities on his body. So when he walked, sat, talked, he looked funny, like a funny creature. So people used to laugh at him, looking at him. So he heard that Janak Maharaj is holding a huge conference of Brahmajnanis, the Brahmanuas. So he went out of curiosity. When he reached the entire conference, all those Brahmajnanis who were present, the entire assembly hall, conference hall, there was a loud laughter. And you know the reason why? Ashtavakra. So looking at the whole assembly, all the people laughing so loudly, he also started laughing loudly. Ashtavakra. And that made everything quiet. Now Janak comes down and then says, I can understand why others are laughing, but I fail to understand why do you laugh. Ashtavakra said, simple. I came to know that this is the conference of Brahmajnanis, the knower of the Brahmans, but I found all the chamars sitting here. Chamar. Chamar means the cobblers, those who work with the leather, those who see the outer skin, the outer appearance. That made me laugh. Then Janak he said, teach me. Make me your disciple. I want to learn from you. You seem to be the Brahmajnani, real Brahmajnani. Ashtavakra said, fine, I'll take you as my disciple. but one condition. He said, all conditions, I am ready to be your disciple. What is the condition? He said, give your mind to me. Give your mind to me. Now, as a symbolic offering of the mind, he removed his crown and placed it at his feet and said, I give you my mind. Then Ashtavakra says, Janak, you know what? From this moment, you have no right to think. You have no right to think because you have given your mind to me. If a thought arises in your mind, it has to be my thought, not your thought, because you have given your mind to me. This is manmana bhava. He said, give your mind in such a way to the divine that anything happens in the mind, it is the divine, or thought, or reason. Any dialogue happens at mind, it is the divine's thought, not my thought. This is manmana bhava. How deep is this teaching, and it can be made practical also. Manmana bhava has this deep meaning that give your mind to the divine in such a manner that anything happens in the mind, it is the divine's. The same way, not just mind, give all your emotions, your heart to me. If there is an emotion, there is an aspiration taking place in the heart. If the devotion arises in the heart, that will be the pure divine devotion or aspiration or emotion. Madbhakta. If there is bhakti in you, it is not that your heart is bhakti, it is me, my emotion. Madhyaji, all your actions should be my action. It is me who is acting through you. You are just the nimitta matram bhavasavya sachin. You are a nimitta, so one has to cast off completely this sense of doership, that I am not the karta. It is the karta, he is acting through me. Madhyaji, be a sacrificer to me or offer every act of yours to me. And mam namaskuru. Now namaskuru is something very deep again. It's not just bow down or prostrate yourself before me. Namas means to be plastic. To be plastic, to be pliable, bendable, moldable. That be plastic in your consciousness, in all parts of your being. That the way divine wants to mold you can mold you and shape you the way he wants. That is namas. So one who has established namas, plasticity, utter plasticity in all parts of the being, that there is no rigidity, no shrinking, no hesitation, no questioning, that is all plastic. So much of openness. One is completely like a flower, completely open to the light. So then the higher force, the higher light can enter into it and make it blossom, make it fragrant, make it spread its fragrance. With no hesitation. The flower has no hesitation. It's fully bloomed. So the mother said, be like a flower. Frank, open. Manmana bhava, madbhakta, madyaji, mam namaskuru. And one has. Then he says, then there is nothing which can stop you being in mind, being in me. Pratijane, priyosime, mameva asheshi. This is what the assurance I give you. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja. Make me the object of your ananya bhakti. Lose yourself to me. Give up all that you have. Dharma includes all your adharma also. Good or bad, anything. When he says sarva dharman parityaja, offer yourself completely as you are, not pretending. Most of the times we pretend. We stand before the shrine and we say, oh, I am such a good boy. I don't allow all these things. Mother says, oh, that's so harmful. You have left all your, like negative things outside, like we leave the chappals. So when you come, they again will, like be your friends. He said, bring them to me. Offer them to me and I'll work on them, transform them. So sarva dharman parityajya. Nothing is left out, good or bad. Mam ekam saranam braja. Lose yourself completely to me. And ahamatva sarva papibhya mokshayishyami masucha. And I promise, I give you this assurance that you will be free from all errors. You will not commit any mistake while acting. Sarva papibhya mokshayishyami. I'll make you free from all errors. Because that is bound to be there. When one loses oneself to the divine and becomes divine, the divine doesn't err. He is perfect. So the perfection will manifest in all our action when we completely carry the divine or lose ourselves to the divine and become the divine. Becoming, Brahmibhuta, one becomes. That's how Radha became. Again, my favorite story I'll share with you. It all happened when Krishna left his body. He sent this, he told Jara, the hunter who killed him, he said, Jara, just guard my body. Arjuna will be passing by in 2-3 days. Somehow tell Arjuna that this message of mine should reach Gopapura, should reach Radha, that she should not wait for me. This was his last message. Wait for me. Because after Krishna left Gopapura, he has not returned. And Radha is still waiting with this expectation that he will definitely come one day. This is what everyone knows. A bullock cart comes to Gopapura, she will come running, my Kanha has come. A leaf falls, she comes out, my Kanha has come. And ultimately Uddhava had to carry this message to Radha. And the old man carrying this Himalayan load on him. How do I say, Radha, that Krishna is no more? What will happen to Radha? Will the earth be there? What will happen to Radha? Will I be able to say this? All the times he is thinking this and reaches Gopapura. Many people in Gopapura, they come and surround Uddhava, listen stories from him. But Radha is not seen anywhere. Now Radha comes, dancing with the same freshness. Uddhava feels, wow, everyone has, either people have died or people have become old. Old age has affected everyone. But look at Radha, as if, like if Mahakal is a flood. So that flood of Mahakal has just stopped near Radha, has not touched Radha. That is the freshness Radha carries. Same youthfulness and freshness, same shringar, same decoration, same brightness, same smile, same chanchalta, fickleness. Uddhava is amazed to see. Then Radha comes running. Uddhav, anytime you have come to Gopapura, you have carried the message of my Kanha. Tell me what is the message this time. The situation is intense. How does Uddhav say Radha ki Krishna is no more. So Radha bangs him, blows him. Uddhav, why are you not saying? Tell me what my Kanha has said. So it comes out of Uddhav's mouth, you know Radha, Krishna is no more. Krishna is no more. And Radha bursts into laughter. Loud laughter. No one has heard Radha laughing like this. Uddhav says, Radha, have you gone mad? Control yourself. Radha says, Uddhav, you know you have become old. Your mind is not working. And you are calling me mad. Krishna is no more. Krishna is no more. This is the message you have carried. Come with me. So then she pulls Uddhav to a place and then says, Uddhav, look, these two small rocks. The day Krishna was to leave Gopapura, so he had taken farewell from everyone. Didn't come to meet me. I was waiting here whole night, waiting Krishna would come. And he came just few minutes before he left. He came here. He knew Radha is waiting. And he came and told me what? He told Radha, from this moment, there is a full stop between you and me. Forget me. In the history of Mahakal, it's not written that I would come back to Gopapura again. So this is the end of the story. Now Radha tells Krishna, Krishna, I don't know. I didn't go to a school to study anything. I don't know the language that you are speaking. Mahakal, Purnached, full stop, history. I'll be returning, not returning. I don't understand your language, what you were saying. But you know, your Radha knows only one thing. Right from the beginning, she knows only one thing, and she lives that no one can separate Krishna from Radha. I know only this much. You go wherever you want to go. You want to come back, don't want to come back, go. But do fulfill one human desire of mine before you leave. Krishna says, how can any human desire touch you, Radha? You are so pure. Radha says, you know, again philosophy. Don't tell me all these things. And you know how obstinate I am. I won't leave you unless and until you fulfill this desire of mine. Krishna had to surrender. Because this is how the surrender becomes complete. It is not one side. If mother had surrendered to Sri Aurobindo, Sri Aurobindo had also completely surrendered to the mother. Then the surrender becomes complete. So Krishna surrenders himself. This is what was difficult for Jayadev to write. When this line comes in Gita Govinda, that Radha, you place your feet on my head. Jayadev was hesitant writing it. He went to take bath. And then he came and asked food for his wife. So his wife said, why? You came, you had your food, and then you want, why are you asking food again? He said, when? I didn't come, I went to take bath. So in between, Krishna has come in his form and written that line. Dehi me pada pallava mudaram. It's a line which the tradition says that directly written by Krishna, because Jayadev was hesitant to do this. Krishna said, why Jayadev you are hesitant? It's true. So Radha says that this is what is my desire, Krishna, that the very first day when you were born and I have seen you, I have just one desire. One day I will shed all my tears and wash your feet. Allow me to do that. And you know Uddhava? So Krishna sat here, put his feet here, and I sat down. And I started shedding tears. All that tears I shed, and I washed his feet. I lost myself. I didn't know what happened. Then I found myself in the arms of Krishna. And then Krishna told me, Radha, if you can keep in your memory afresh this moment, and I tell you what you said right, then no one who can separate us. Then Radha says to Uddhav, from that moment I have become Krishna. I have become Krishna. He is there in every breath of mine. He is there. I constantly hear his flute, his smile, his speech, everything. I have become Krishna. I am no other than Krishna. And you come and tell me Krishna is no more? Shouldn't I laugh? Uddhava was stunned. He said, perhaps I lived with Krishna physically maximum, but I never had this realization who Krishna was. Perhaps Krishna is too compassionate for me, and he chose me as the instrument to bring this message, so then I have this realization of Radha. Radha went dancing. Now Uddhava makes a prayer that, Krishna, if this pure love and surrender of Radha spreads into every dust of the earth, every corner, in everything and being, then your Mahaprasthan, your departure has some meaning. He prays and goes to Himalaya to spend his last time. Thank you.